Hello, this is Jean Marie Ward for Buzzy Magazine. With me today is Renaissance author C.J. Henderson, author of the Night Supernatural Investigator series. Welcome, C.J.
Howdy.
Howdy. Congratulations on the release of the third Brooklyn Night.
That's actually fine. Most of people call it the Brooklyn Night series.
Okay.
That was the name of the first book. As a matter of fact, I thought that it would have other titles after that, but the publisher said, no, it's got to keep place names. And when I did Central Park Night, I realized that, okay, the location in the title will be where the big climax, the showdown is. And so you'll always know. So Radio City Night, the third one that just got released today.
Third one of the Supernatural Investigative series.
So I knew it had to take place in Radio City Music Hall, and I know the fourth one is Coney Island Night, and yet I know it starts in Europe, so I don't know. But I write without an outline. I never know where anything's going, but it always gets there, so okay.
What kind of trouble has your hero Piers Knight gotten himself into in Radio City Night?
Well, in Radio City Night, I guess what you need to know is that the dimensional barriers are breaking down. This happens every so many millennia, and fabric between the universes is coming unraveled. In the second book, dragons appeared. We found out that yes, there were dragons in the world. The reason there was no proof, they only come through the gates every once in a while. Now's the time when all the gates are opening. So we got the dragons in the second book, and in the third one, whatever it is that actually is Satan, hell is opening up.
Oh.
And I tend to escalate things on my characters really fast.
Yeah, you do. So basically you've got dragons appearing and the gate to hell is opening. That should keep Piers busy. And you also have a rather interesting take, as I was hearing earlier, on people's reaction to this. It's not like people go, oh yeah, they're dragons. You've got radio announcers and TV announcers going nuts.
Yeah, I hate the kind of episodic television or even series work where something gigantic happens, zombies are going across the land, the creature from the Black Lagoon comes out, and then the next issue, the next episode, nobody knows anything. It's all covered up. I hate that crap. In Central Park Night, where the dragons make their appearance, the government actually tries to cover it up, and this one 18-year-old character goes, dude, there's already 500,000 uploads to YouTube. And it's like, from approximately 150 different angles. And it's like, you can't cover this up, sweetheart.
That's true in the real world.
Yeah, well, it's a whole new world, and it also, hello, my wonderful world of fans, I'm sorry. But we live in the real world, and I like to use the real world and the way things happen. For instance, for any of you that know Kolchak the Night Stalker, I'm the person they have to bring it back. And when they had me redo it, what I did is it's the same old Kolchak, but now, the car he drives is a classic. He still dresses the same way. He works on a computer now. He has a digital camera. And all the legitimate television stations and papers and such still say he's an idiot. But he's an internet sensation. On the internet, it's like, this Kolchak guy, man, he tells the truth. And of course, he's embarrassed about this. Oh, why do the lunatics love me? I like to take things that are given to me that already exist, clean them up the way they should be, not just change them because I'm incompetent and don't know how to do something the way it's supposed to be done. And my own stuff, I like to have it be part of the real world. Am I technologically gifted? No. But I know people, and so I always try to get my facts right. A great mystery author and science fiction and fantasy author, John French, is also one of the heads of CSI in Baltimore. So for 34 years, he's been on the streets getting all the facts. So all my mysteries, when I was doing Batman, every little detective detail was correct because I go to the source. And I'm probably getting way off topic, so why don't I shut up?
Well, no, that's interesting. Actually, it's on topic because I introduced you as a Renaissance author, and this is something I think our viewers would be interested in. You've done a lot of comics work. And did you put in the same kind of research in your comics that you do for your I guess you would call them text-powered novels and short stories, because you write everything.
Anything that I do, I want to do correctly. I was amazed. My greatest compliment. I did a series of stories about the Pell Gimbley Institute for the Advanced Sciences. These were wacky sci-fi comedy, steam-powered interdimensional travel, things like that. And the book of all the stories when they were put together was edited by John Rennie, who was the editor-in-chief of Scientific American for 20 years. And even though I was guessing my way, because there really isn't any way to research steam-powered interdimensional travel, he said all my science worked. The research that I did do apparently paid off. So when you're this old, and God, oh heavens, I am an old man, you get a knack for things. And I have enough people look at stuff, and being old, I still do my research. It's the youngins, oh, God darn it, you know, they just don't want to do the work. Trust in Wikipedia, oh my goodness. Again, I'm not really getting loopy, so why don't you ask me a real question?
Well, I was going to say, how did you get into so many genres? I mean, you say on your website that you started out loving the Romantic poets. How does a guy who loved Shelley go from the Romantic poets to all the things you've done? You've done nonfiction, you've done work on cryptozoology, I believe and you certainly did a lot of books on science fiction. How did you get into all these areas?
Well, the secret is that everything I write is hard-boiled. When you look at Shelley, it's the guy that wrote Ozymandias.
Right.
It's King of Kings, you know, look upon my works, ye mighty in despair, two vast and trunkless legs of stone. This is a very hard-boiled poem. And that's the kind of guy, and this is what appealed to me. I grew up in a very abusive household. My mother hated the idea that I wanted to write, did everything she could to make sure I didn't. I lived in the country. I had no outlet. It was, if I was going to do it, I had to really want to do it. I had to need to do it. And all of my work is you get what you pay for. The world is written black and white. We create our own reality. And so whether I'm doing science fiction or fantasy or sword and sorcery, it's hard-boiled. The characters don't have gin bottles in the bottom drawer. It's take responsibility for your actions. And so I just find that I jump around, but I'm really always writing the same kind of thing, except comedy. Comedies come to me later in life because I love comedy. I would rather watch a comedy than anything. And I always felt that I would never be able to do comedy, that it was too tough. Because good comedy is hard. I mean, it's very easy to make a topical joke about the president or a sports team, and then the next week, of course, it's not going to be funny at all. But to write something that's going to continue to be funny for not only weeks, but, you know, decades, centuries, you've got to get down to the core of what comedy is about. And once I found out that I could do comedy, I've become kind of unstoppable lately. They're putting together now the collected stories of my sci-fi military musical comedies.
Military musical.
Comedy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. Well, I was invited to a sci-fi military anthology. And, well, I don't do as much science fiction as I do other things, and I never really use the military as the central focus of anything. I have nothing against the military. That takes a lot of research, and there's so many people that do it so well. I mean, sci-fi military, there are people that are physicists and ex-Navy that write these things. And when I'm in an anthology, if I can't be one of the 3 best stories, maybe I don't want to be in the book. You know, okay, I'm vain. Sue me. I'll be dead soon. You can't get me.
You should have a lot more years.
Oh, not the way I carry on. But my heavens. So see, when you're old, you can lose the thread of what you're saying. Anyway, everybody is connected to the book, the publisher, the editor, so everyone wanted me to be in it. So I said, okay, fine. And for about 3 weeks, I beat myself up. Anything I came up with, I was sure I was stealing from an old Star Trek. I had no faith in anything I came up with. Finally, I told myself what I'd have told anyone else in 10 seconds. Can't play in their sandbox? Make them play in yours. the big light bulb goes off. I flashed on an interview I'd seen Gene Kelly give, and he said, "Mr. Kelly, why did you play sailors in so many of your movies?" He said, "Because the pants are so easy to dance in." Picked up the phone. Mike, I got a great idea. Oh, I knew you would. I knew. Yeah, there'll be a great big ship. Okay, we won't see it. All right, don't worry, it's part of the plot, But we'll be on an alien world. Okay, I don't mean like Mars, I mean with aliens. Okay, fine. Not like Earth has humans, I mean like a UN of aliens. Okay, good. There'll be intergalactic political intrigue. All right, good. No one's doing anything like that yet. That'd be good. There'll be a couple of fights. Well, you always do that well. And then there'll be one great big song and dance number right in the middle.
Silence.
What? I said, "Mike, it's not always Strum and Drang. It's not always blood and laser. Sometimes you're on shore leave." Write it. Well, I wrote it, and I got away with it, and I was very happy, and I got terrific billing, and everyone loved it, and I thought, great, now I never have to do another one. Before I knew it, the demand was for more stories from all corners. So now there's a book full of those. There's a book full of the Weslowski stories. There's a book full of the Challenge of the Unknown stories about my TV reporters that investigate the supernatural. And that was based on the old TV show Sightings, because I had 2 days to do a story if I could get into this anthology. And so I got an idea. So I just took that, and this was long before, now we have 50 different TV shows dedicated to the supernatural. But at the time I thought, well, gee, what would happen if one of these guys opened the crypt and something walked out? And now there's a book full of those, and that's coming out this year too. All my comedy series are kind of wrapping up now, so I really seem to be focusing on Knight. Because
Piers Knight,
yes.
The supernatural investigative detective.
Well, he's a curator at the Brooklyn Museum. I mean, he falls into the supernatural investigator mode because I do so many of them. But he's the most different character I've created in years. Reviewers kept comparing him to Doctor Who. And I was like, well, he's not an alien. He doesn't travel in time. What the heck are they talking about? And at first I thought it was just the relationships between him and other people and the kind of kooky way he is. It took me 3 novels. It wasn't until the end of the 3rd book that I realized this guy never picks up a gun. He does not a knife. He doesn't make a fist. He doesn't get angry, except in that way that, like David Tennant especially would get angry. I was like, okay, fine. You really can't let me be a nice guy, but I'm going to show you who you're messing with. But he still wouldn't do anything violent, but they would pay. And I was like, oh my God, that's what they're talking about. I didn't even see it.
Writers aren't necessarily the people who know their own work.
Oh, yeah, I don't write these things. I just let the characters run through it. I learned a long time ago to just let them do what they want, because whenever I try to stop them, it never works. And it's always better.
Yeah, it is.
If I just let them do what they want.
We're coming up on the end of the interview, so I just want to ask you quickly, what are you working on now?
Well, actually I'm doing a private job. A fellow with a really bad screenplay wanted it turned into a novel, and it was too much money to turn down.
Cool.
So I can't name names because they pay you not to say things like that. But the next thing I have to finish after that is an article for the SIFWA Bulletin. I'm doing 6 Reasons Not to Quit Your Day Job.
Makes sense to me.
Then I have to do Dragon Lord 2 and The Spider 2. I mean, they'll have real titles. I have to do those. I owe them. But I really want to do Coney Island Night. Oh gosh, I love that character so much.
Hey, that sounds like a great place to end it, because you want to end with love. Thank you, CJ, and thank you for Buzzy Magazine.